Belarus across the globe in 9 languages, 24/7, online, FM and satellites. Radio Belarus International, bringing Belarus closer.
This is the international radio station. My name is Daniel Mikusek. Today, I will taking part international conference. I would like to invite our dear viewers to listen. The topic of the conference is Democratic Peoples of Korea, with the subject of today's talk, People's Korea, country with steadfast independence, world leader of the anti-imperialist struggle and advocacy of peace. I warmly welcome participants of the conference and would like to say thank you for accepting the invitation from Radio Belarus and taking part in this conference. Please keep your microphone turned off when you are not speaking so as not disturb. As we can see, we have participants from all over the world, from Brazil, from Spain, from Great Britain, Germany, and also from Bangladesh. It is great significance that People's Korea has friends and supporters over the world. Okay, let's move on to the first point of our conference, where participants will present their short presentation on the topic as in the title of the conference. First to speak, please Comrade Emmanuel Costa, President of the Korean Friendships Association in Brazil.
Dear friends from Belarus, the DPRK, and all over the world. In recent years, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea has sought to strengthen their international standing through the strategic agreements with partners that would allow new forms of development that would represent great advantage to Korea, granting more peace and stability to the region known as East Asia. Amongst these, its mutual agreement with Russia has drawn a significant attention due to the broader geopolitical implications. This partnership reflects not only shared interests, but also a calculated response to the global power shifts and sanctions to both countries. But analyzing this alliance, we can draw parallels and understand the challenges faced by countries like Venezuela and even Brazil here in South America, where economic pressures and geopolitical strategies can create different complexities, especially now with a new president taking office in the US and with Marco Rubio as his Secretary of State. We'll have more eyes now staring at us for a while. In the regarding of a strategic context of mutual agreement between the DPRK and Russia, it stems from a shared desire of counterbalance to the Western influence, particularly to the United States, as the both countries, DPRK and Russia, are already sanctioned by them, and therefore they have nothing to lose on this context. This partnership is rooted in economic and military cooperation, and this can create a whole new space for different sorts of exchanges, and whether it's cultural or scientific, it can benefit both countries along East Asia and even Eastern Europe. On parallels in South America, it seems important to recall that Venezuela, like the DPRK, has faced severe economic sanctions, primarily from Western powers. It has a government that sought alliances with countries like Russia, Belarus, and China to counteract these pressures and it's been a little successful on that. But on previous term, Donald Trump tried to send mercenaries to oust and kill President Maduro. Now Trump seems to try this again. Therefore, Venezuela tries to start a new alliance and it needs a stronger army and a smarter army in order to resist it. The DPRK has a strategic partnership with Russia and it has a potential model for survival under sanction in terms of strategical ideas for both countries in similar conditions. For Venezuela and many other countries in our continent, this is quite far from reality. We must keep that in mind. The path taken by the DPRK isn't one easily taken. It takes time, and a national coalition must be strong to avoid any imperialistic attempt to obliterate any achievements. Few countries in the world have conditions nowadays to counter an insurgents like the colored revolutions. The DPRK, China, Cuba, and Belarus are amongst them. In conclusion, I've mentioned how good the Russian DPRK agreements can be not only for themselves alone, but also for other regions as well. But perhaps one of the greatest traits of it might come when it comes a subject for study the matters of geopolitics and history. This is where it can be seen as a highly valuable pact and a game-changing move, and I trust that. It will be a reference of a country that seeks stability and the end of a war that hasn't been ended for more than 50 years. The DPRK-Russia Mutual Agreement is a validation to the evolving nature of international alliances. It reflects a shared strategy to counterbalance Western influence, offering valuable lessons for nations navigating similar challenges. For us, the message is clear. We have good examples, but we must build our own path in our own reality. But we must remember we still have good friends, friends in similar conditions who would have much to add. Why not have a different move like the DPRK, a country that so many called isolated? It proved the contrary in a great way, and they will keep proving it. We can be sure of that. With my best regards, Emmanuel, the DPRK delegate for KFA in Brazil. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The second speaker is Comrade Alejandro Cao de Benos, President of the Korean Friendships Association from Spain. Please.
Honorable comrades and friends, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea is a nation that has championed the cause of anti-imperialism and dedicated itself to the noble pursuit of world peace. Since its founding in 1948, under the leadership of its eternal president Kim Il-sung, the DPRK has remained a beacon of resistance against imperialist forces, an unwavering advocate for the sovereignty of all nations, and a shining example of how a people can lead to self-reliance and national strength. Today, as we celebrate the enduring legacy of the DPRK, we must acknowledge its indomitable role in the global struggle for independence and justice. The establishment of the DPRK in 1948 was not simply the birth of a new nation. It was the culmination of a centuries-long struggle against imperialist domination. For much of its history, Korea endured foreign invasions, oppression, and colonial rule, most notably under Japan's brutal imperialistic expansion until 1945. The people of Korea, however, didn't submit to the yoke of oppression. They rose in defiance, waging numerous battles against foreign occupation. In the face of adversity, they were led by the great revolutionary President Kim Il-sung, whose leadership inspired millions to stand firm against imperialist forces and claim their right to self-determination. Kim Il-sung's leadership during the Japanese occupation and the resistance against foreign interference laid the foundations of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. The struggle for independence was not only a fight for national sovereignty, but a fight for human dignity. The DPRK emerged as a symbol of resistance against the most powerful imperialist forces of the time. From the outset, it committed itself to protecting the interests of the people, ensuring the rights to education, healthcare, and above all, independence. In the decades that followed, the DPRK's stance against imperialism has made it a vanguard in the global anti-imperialist movement. The country's strong resistance to the interference of foreign powers, particularly the United States, is a testament of its unyielding commitment to the principles of sovereignty, dignity, and national self-determination. One of the most remarkable aspects of the DPRK is the dedication of the principle of juche, the ideology of self-reliance. Guided by President Kim Il-sung's vision, the DPRK has advanced in all areas of national development, despite facing significant challenges, including the hostility of imperialist powers and harsh international sanctions. The DPRK economic progress is a testament to the resilience and ingenuity of the Korean people. The country has developed its own industrial base, built an advanced military, and achieved remarkable success in education, healthcare, and social welfare. The country has created a society in which the welfare of the people is prioritized above all else. While much of the world has been subject to the whims of market forces and corporate interests, the DPRK has maintained a planned economy that focuses on meeting the needs of the people, not the profits of a few. In this way, the DPRK stands as a shining example of how a country can develop and thrive outside the orbit of imperialist exploitation, guided by the principle that the people, not the elite, are the true creators of wealth and power. While many countries in the world have suffered from the fightings and wars, natural disasters, and political instability, the DPRK has persevered. The achievements of the country are not just the result of material resources, but of the strength and unity of the Korean people. Through their collective effort, the nation has defied the odds and carved a path of progress that demonstrates the power of self-reliance and national solidarity. In addition to its resistance to imperialism, the DPRK has emerged as a passionate advocate of global peace. The DPRK has long fought for the cause of peace in Korean Peninsula, calling for the end of foreign military presence, particularly the United States military bases in South Korea. The country has also called for dialogue and peaceful resolution of conflicts, and it continued to advocate for the withdrawal of foreign troops in the region. Despite the aggressive rhetoric and actions of imperialist powers, the DPRK has remained committed to peace and stability, mutual respect, non-interference in the internal affairs of other nations. The country's commitment to peace is rooted in its belief that the world can only thrive when all nations are free from the threat of foreign domination and military aggression. And in the recent years, the historic summit meetings between North Korea and the United States demonstrate such DPRK desire to engage in dialogue and find peaceful solutions. Furthermore, the DPRK has supported international efforts to address global challenges such as poverty, climate change, and inequality. The country has consistently called for a new world order in which imperialism and hegemonism are replaced by cooperation, respect for sovereignty, and shared prosperity. The leadership of the DPRK continues to advocate for a world where all nations, regardless of size or power, have the right to determine their own futures free from the interference of outside forces. The leadership of Marshal Kim Jong Un, supreme leader of the DPRK, has continued the work of his predecessors in ensuring the country's progress and standing as a strong advocate for global peace. Under his leadership, the DPRK has continued its strengthening of the defense capabilities and nuclear power, the expansion of its economic base, and the ongoing commitment to the welfare of the people. Marshal Kim Jong Un has further advanced the cause of world peace by engaging in direct dialogue with other countries, promoting regional stability, like the recent bilateral treaties with Russia. His efforts to ease tensions on the peninsula and open the door for greater cooperation with the international community demonstrate the DPRK's commitment to peace and its belief in diplomacy as the pathway to resolving conflicts. In conclusion, the DPRK stands as a living testament to the power of anti-imperialism, self-reliance, and peace. Its achievements in building a prosperous society for its people are a model for the world. The leadership of eternal President Kim Il-sung, Grand Leader Kim Jong Il, and respected Marshal Kim Jong Un has shown the world that true strength lies in the unity of the people, in their ability to stand up to imperialism, and in their unwavering commitment to peace. As we look to the future, we must continue to support DPRK's effort to promote world peace, respect for sovereignty, and the elimination of imperialist exploitation. The DPRK is not just a nation, it is a symbol of hope, a beacon of resistance, and a tireless advocate for the rights of all the people to live free from oppression. Thank you very much.
Comrade Alejandro, thank you very much. Another speaker is Comrade Dermot Hudson, chairman of the Korean Friendships Association in Great Britain. Please.
Thank you very much. This is Dr. Dermot Hudson, chairman of KFA UK. In his address to the 11th plenary meeting of the 8th Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea that was held at the end of December last year, Great Marshal Kim Jong Un clarified that, and I quote, "The US is the most reactionary state that regards anti-communism as its invariable state policy. The alliance between the US, Japan, and ROK has expanded into a nuclear military bloc for aggression, and the ROK has turned into an out-and-out anti-communist outpost of the US," end of quotation. Respected Marshal Kim Jong Un also said that a strategy for the toughest anti-US counter-action should be launched. After the US elections last November, speaking at the exhibition National Defense 2024, Marshal Kim Jong Un explained that, and I quote, "We already did everything possible in the bilateral negotiations with the United States, and what we were eventually convinced of was not the superpower's will to coexist with us, but its domineering stand and unchangeably aggressive and hostile policy towards the DPRK. American politicians still say, as they are wont to do, that the United States has never been hostile. This odd-sounding rhetoric has long been rejected by the world as anything but plausible. The US imperialists and their vassal forces' wild ambition to obliterate our ideology and system at any cost and destroy our people to the last one has never changed. Rather, they are recklessly maneuvering to realize this ambition this century," end of quotation. This shows that the DPRK is under no illusion whatsoever about US imperialism and fully recognizes that the aggressive, reactionary and predatory nature cannot and will not change, no matter who sits in the White House. The US wants to overthrow the socialist system of the DPRK and is always finding new ways of doing this by hook or by crook. Of course, the DPRK, which bases itself on the principles of independence, peace and friendship, tried to reach a peace settlement with the US and even held a peace summit with the US. Similarly, in the past, the DPRK tried to solve the Korean question in a peaceful way by advancing proposals for peaceful reunification of Korea and held many talks with the Republic of Korea. However, the Republic of Korea, a puppet state of US imperialism, never gave up its ambition for regime change, the annexation and colonization of the DPRK. Therefore, at the end of 2023, the DPRK formally abandoned the goal of reunification and followed this up in 2024 by dissolving bodies connected with national reunification and inter-Korean relations, as well as permanently cutting roads and railways. As I said, the DPRK bases itself on independence, peace and friendship. It has diplomatic relations with over 100 countries, including the Republic of Belarus and even Britain. The DPRK participates in many international organizations. It has given international assistance to many countries,
such as establishing agricultural institutes in Guinea and Tanzania. The DPRK punched well above its weight in assisting the anti-imperialist struggle. During the Caribbean crisis in 1962, the DPRK stood by Cuba when others abandoned it. DPRK diplomats and students in Cuba armed themselves ready to fight side by side with the Cuban people. President Kim Il-sung called for international volunteers to be sent to Vietnam and sent the best pilots of the Korean People's Army to Vietnam, as well as tunneling experts, plus material assistance as well. During the 1973 October War between the United Arab Republic and the Israeli Zionists, a squadron of pilots of the Korean People's Army was sent to assist the Arab people in their fight against the Zionist aggression. President Kim Il-sung supported the Grenadian Revolution. He sent DPRK construction experts to Grenada, and the DPRK gave a generous amount of military aid to the People's Revolutionary Government of Grenada. Today, the DPRK has friendly and cooperative relations with many states. It has issued many statements in support of the Palestinian people and taken a positive attitude towards the Russian people's struggle against the Ukrainian neo-Nazis. In conclusion, today, People's Korea stands out as a bastion of militant anti-imperialism and world peace. Thank you very much for listening.
Comrade Devon Hudson, thank you very much for your speech. Another speaker is Comrade Alan Bolon, Organization Secretary of the Korean Friendships Association in Great Britain. Comrade Alan, please, your voice.
Thank you very much. Dear listeners of Radio Belarus, dear participants of the international conference, the People's Korea, which is the topic of our today conference, is closely linked to the defense and maintenance of the peace as well as the struggle against imperialism. These two aspects of the international policy pursued by the Democratic People's Republic of Korea are mutual and complementary. It is expressed in the DPRK political system and sovereign policies created by People's Korea. The policies like Songun politics grow out of the revolutionary struggle. The basis of the foundations is the revolutionary spirit of Mount Paektu, which for decades has guided Korean people. The revolutionary spiritual flames of Mount Paektu are the personification of the aspirations of the Korean nation and gives them patriotic and socialist shape of the past and present moment, and also determinants of Korean style socialism, which is what phenomenon and proved the validity of socialist society and its correctness. On the question of anti-imperialism, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea is undoubtedly the world leader in the anti-imperialist struggle. And this is because it has earned this title not only from the dawn of its history, from the very beginning of its foundation and decades of struggle against all manifestations of imperialism in the international arena and at home, including the greatest battle with the imperialist USA aggression in 1950-1953. So, speaking today in the arena of world anti-imperialist struggle about the forces that are fighting against imperialism, speaking without the DPRK is not only, in my opinion, a profound mistake, But above all, it is lack of respect and omission of the historical fact of the heroic struggles of the DPRK, both during the period of anti-Japanese resistance movement and later on, closer to our time, during the Korean War and other anti-imperialist struggles in other areas, not only military, but also in the economic or cultural and social sphere. Therefore, speaking and organizing the anti-imperialist struggle in the present time without people Korea is completely unreasonable and incorrect. I will use here the comparison that I once used. Building an anti-imperialist alliance without the main anti-imperialist force, which is Democratic People's Republic of Korea, is like trying to bake bread without flour. Today, as in the past, the DPRK was and will be the main and strongest world anti-imperialist force. Why we can call the DPRK the advocate of world peace? It is because the People's Korea has never attacked any country in the world in its history, unlike the USA did, and has never invaded another sovereign state, never had any aggression to other country as an invader. The military policy of Songun is highly defensive nature, and so are the assumptions or the claims of the military doctrine of other West imperialist forces, that is a risk to world peace, and so on. This is all lies and also propaganda, wrong West propaganda. The Songun politic has nature defend to People's Korea, never attack others, as the USA has done many times in the past. Therefore, all the lies and distortions about the allegedly aggressive nature of the DPRK international policy, which are produced by the Western media serving the interests of imperialism, they are only specially fabricated lies that have nothing to do with the truth. An important aspect is to explain the real reasons and causes why the DPRK abandoned the path of reunification with South Puppet state. The DPRK government has long time tolerated the South Puppet regime, as has been somewhat tolerant of the South attempts to use inter-Korean exchanges and dialogue as a means to infiltrate capitalism into the DPRK and also restore capitalism. But patience has its limits. Contrary to what Western propaganda centers say, it is not hostility and desire to exacerbate the conflict. The reasons for this decision are much deeper and different. Marshal Kim Jong Un once described it well. Quote, "I think it is a mistake we should no longer make to regard the clan who publicly defined us as the principal enemy and is seeking only the opportunity of collapse of power and unification by absorption in collusion with the foreign forces as the partner of reconciliation and reunification. It is not suitable to the prestige and position of the DPRK to discuss the issue of reunification with the strange clan, who is no more than colonial stooge of the USA, just because of the rhetorical word of the fellow countrymen." Finish quotation. So there is no country in the world such Democratic People's Republic of Korea where the society is so strongly united in common goals. Through the years and decades, DPRK economy has grown successfully to maintain economic independence, self-sufficiency, and self-reliance. Due to ideological directions of Juche philosophy being the main assumptions of the internal policies. Since the beginning of the foundation of DPRK, its history marked the next milestone for building a strong, independent state of people's democracy. The DPRK is fully independent and sovereign state. It means that DPRK is not dependent of anything or anyone in political, economical, and social sphere. DPRK is a country where power is in the hands of popular masses. It means also that every citizen of DPRK is allowed to contribute in democratic elections and express their opinions and ideas. Not like the imperialist countries where the ruling classes dictate who and where is taken the state power to express aspiration to secure the bourgeois interests of group of capitalist corporations or owners of the resource of production. The history of Democratic People's Republic of Korea is its own history, resistance to Japanese colonialism, and victorious guerrilla warfare in the 1930s under the leadership of great leader Kim Il-sung, the establishment of an independent state, and outstanding achievements in building socialism of a proud Korean nation under the leadership of Kim Jong Il have proved its indestructible and immortal strength, the strength derived from the Juche philosophy. And it is the Juche philosophy that makes the DPRK both in the past and now remain and forever remain both peace guarded by the most powerful army in the world, the Korean People's Army. This is country of flourishing prosperity for all citizens, country where the idea of communist paradise and Asian superpower is realized. Long life DPRK, man say.
Man say, great speech.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your speech. Another speaker is Comrade Jeremy Beringer, chairman of the Korea Friendships Association KFA in Germany. Please.
Hello, I'm Jeremy Beringer.
Jeremy, can you
official
hear me?
delegate of KFA in Germany, and I want to talk about the DPRK and the multipolar world order. Dear friends and comrades, dear listeners of Radio Belarus, today we've heard many great speeches about the great anti-imperialist struggle of the DPRK, and I am confident that the following speeches will be just as excellent. Today I'd like to talk about something that is not talked about, although it's very central to the modern anti-imperialist movement, and that is the role of the DPRK in creating the concept of a multipolar world order. Although President Kim Il-sung didn't use the exact term, it is clear that his concept of sovereignty in the whole world is what is now called the multipolar world order. In his 1986 work, The Historical Experience of the Development of the Workers' Party of Korea, President Kim Il-sung says, I quote, "An important condition for advancing the world revolution is the realization of sovereignty throughout the whole world. In such a world, imperialism and colonialism will be completely eliminated, and the sovereignty of all countries and nations will be secured forever. Then the way will be opened for every country and nation to create a new, independent, and prosperous society, and to realize the sovereignty of the popular masses." End of quote. This is what many people today understand by a multipolar world order. But it's not the first time President Kim Il-sung has mentioned this concept. The multipolar world order is an essential part of the Juche idea. It was first mentioned in President Kim Il-sung's historic speech at Kowloon Conference in 1930. The speech in which he first presented the Chucho idea to the Korean people. In this speech he said, I quote, "Since our aim is to carry through none other than the Korean Revolution, we should solve all problems arising in the course of that revolution by our own efforts, proceeding from the specific conditions in our country." Later in his speech he says, quote again, "We need not to get someone else's approval to our revolutionary movement. Whether anyone approves or not, we will succeed if we conduct the revolution properly." End of quote. This was President Kim Il-sung's commitment to the idea of sovereignty on which the multipolar world order is based. At a time when many communists in Korea and the world were infected with funkyism towards the Soviet Union and the Comintern. Comrade Kim Jong Il pointed out the hegemonic role of US imperialism in the unipolar world order. In his prestigious work, Characteristics of Modern Imperialism and Its Aggressive Nature, he pointed out, I quote, "In the past, the imperialist states were in serious contradictions and conflicts with each other. But on the occasion of the Second World War, the international situation of imperialism changed. Of the imperialist powers, fascist Germany, Italy, and Japan suffered a defeat. France and Great Britain weakened considerably, while US imperialism became more obese and expanded economically and militarily. In 1948, US imperialism accounted for 53.9% of industrial production and 74.5% of stock of gold in the capitalist world. On the basis of this economic potential, it reduced the other imperialist countries to its debtors and tied them up with the news of aggressive aid. As its own power continued to grow, and the other imperialist countries found themselves in extremely unfavorable positions. US imperialism bluntly revealed its intention to act as ringleader of world imperialism, to hold the capitalist world by descent and rule over the world. Those imperialist countries that were robbed of their former sphere of influence and extremely weakened tried in turn to maintain the disintegrating system of rule under the aegis of US imperialism. The aggressive intentions of US imperialism to achieve world domination and the efforts of the other imperialist countries to maintain their collapsing system of rule under the aegis of USA bound them together, so that the imperialist system was restructured with USA imperialism as ringleader. The reconstruction is reflected in the fact that US imperialism, under the deceptive slogan, "Defense of the Free World," is making the other imperialist countries into henchmen of its aggressive policy and dictating the US dollar as a leading currency of the capitalist world to these countries. In the military sphere, various aggressive military blocs have been established, and by controlling and managing them, the standards of military technology and military intelligence systems of the imperialist countries have been unified. End of quote. But the role of the DPRK in the struggle against imperialism for a multipolar world order is not only theoretical. The DPRK plays a key role in the development of South-South cooperation, for example by building and strengthening the non-aligned movement and providing solidarity and internationalist aid to the struggles of the peoples of the global South, such as military aid to Vietnam in its struggle against US imperialism, and military aid to Egypt and Syria in the struggle against Zionism. Today, the DPRK is firmly on the side of Russia in its struggle against US-created neonazism in Ukraine, and on the side of the Palestinian people against the US-backed Zionist regime, which is occupying large parts of Palestine and suppressing the Palestinian people's right to their own state. While at the same time, the DPRK is the victim of one of the world's biggest propaganda campaigns, on one of the world's toughest embargoes, and US troops occupying the south of its country and regularly carrying out aggressive military maneuvers. This proves that the DPRK is a serious threat to the USA and its unipolar world order. I am convinced that the defeat of the US empire and the victory of the DPRK are inevitable under the wise leadership of Marshal Kim Jong Un. Down with US imperialism. Down with the South Korean puppet regime. Long live Marshal Kim Jong Un. Long live People's Korea. Mansei.
Thank you very much for your speech. Another speaker is Comrade Ben Kavanagh, the chairman of the Scottish branch on the Korean Friendships Association in the UK. Please, your voice.
Dear comrades in Belarus and throughout the world, People's Korea is a beacon of hope for the world proletariat. It is a relatively small nation, yet it is a great nation that shows the world proletariat what is possible. It demonstrates how strong a nation united by a brilliant, highly innovative, creative, and fearless leadership anchored in Marxism, Leninism, and fully connected to the masses can be, even when facing the forces of the world hegemon and its many vassal states. The DPRK is the world's preeminent example of a truly independent planned economy. Their planned economy's rapid and reliable development and self-sufficiency give the DPRK the strength to withstand sanctions and other economic attacks, as well as military attacks. It allows the DPRK to follow an independent path of dignity, sovereignty, and full technical and ideological development. Due to this uncompromising independence and sovereignty, the DPRK is unafraid to expose the machinations and crimes of U.S. imperialism around the world. This fact, combined with the DPRK's commitment to internationalism and solidarity with workers' movements worldwide seeking independence from imperialism, make the DPRK the clear leading voice in the world anti-imperialist struggle. No nation has struggled against U.S. imperialism for as long and with such intensity and sacrifice as the nation of People's Korea. Its incredible efforts to follow its independent path with dignity and sovereignty greatly inspire the anti-imperialist struggle. During this struggle, the leadership of the DPRK, the great Generalissimo Kim Il-sung, the great leader Kim Jong Il, and respected Marshal Kim Jong Un developed and followed the critical ideological developments of Juche and Songun philosophy. In particular, the Songun Defense First philosophy clearly demonstrated its value in the DPRK's ability to continually repulse the never-ending attacks of U.S. imperialism. It is the opinion of KFA, my opinion, of KFA Scotland, that these critical ideological developments show the way forward to world peace. There can never be world peace while U.S. imperialism threatens every nation with destruction. Only the spread of Juche and Songun philosophy around the world will lead to a world of self-reliant nations committed to independence and solidarity with other nations that can each withstand the assault of imperialist economic and military attack, thus forcing the contradictions within imperialism to collapse in on itself and make world peace possible. KFA Scotland pays tribute to the proud nation of People's Korea and its outstanding leadership and promises to do all it can to strengthen the bonds of friendship between Scotland and People's Korea and spread these crucial philosophical advances that are critical for world peace. Long live the DPRK. Manse.
Thank you very much. Another speaker is Dr. Jahangir Khan, journalist and president of the Global Songun Farm Organization. Comrade Jahangir, can you hear me? Can we start? Can you start?
Can you switch on your microphone, please, Doctor?
Yeah, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
You can start,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah, thank you very much giving me the chance to the auspicious online international conference on the theme, the very important theme I think you selected in the simultaneous history of the world. It is the very important theme. DPRK is a country, is a leader of anti-imperialism is a culture of global peace. And when we can see the scenario of people's activities, global masses activities, global masses uplifting their situation in DPR Korea, we can feel very proudly all over the world. It is the country of perfect people. It is the country of genuine people, peace-loving people in the world. At first, I can convey my salute and my congratulations to the very brave and very glorious, very brilliant leadership of DPR Korea, handled by beloved leader Kim Jong Un. And this month is his birthday, yes, auspicious birthday. On this birthday, I can say in my poem, really he is a brave, really he is a civilized leader of the world. And barbarous hegemony, barbarous provocationary force of USA, they are landing in South Korea and another bases of the world. They always pick up people's peace. They always handle the hegemonist power. They always take their aggressivity to these peoples of democratic sense. Now I want to say some words as a poem to my dearest leader of the peace, leader of self-reliance, leader of self-defense. I can say my poem in a short. The day is the 8th January, a real life as a worthy. We are so happy seeing a global dignity, dearest personality. Now Kim Jong Un really is the brightest moon. The year 2025 again red roses heighten to cordial affluent. Again bird songs loud to play Kim Jong Un's glory as Kim Jong Un's people's first politics. All of the love from the ethics, Kim Jong-ilism, brilliant tools against ugly imperialism. Strong enough to defend Korea, even the global farm area. Every year, this is the view as a global renew. People's politics, people's ethics, longly beloved leader, Kim Jong-un world over. Every tree will be fruitful, every soil will be fertile, every drop of water will be so beautiful for your excellency. For your people's courtesy, moreover people's love, moreover anti-imperialist cause, we surely make strongest global farmy die. Thus will fight to gain the right. Kim Jong-un's people's first politics will be in so lights. Our wishes to the birth always remains in every way. Thank you, hearing my poems. Now I can say some words about the present situation of DPR Korea. Really, the scenario and the theme of the present politics of Workers' Party of Korea really find a real way to fight imperialism. And in the same time, our desire from the world corner, every country should rise and should hands high with the popular masses. I mean, farmy people. They are the productive force. They are the anti-imperialist, pure anti-imperialist force. We find out a routine. We find out a unity goal. How we can capture imperialist existence of the third world. In this scenario, we can include the fighting of Venezuelan people, Bolivarian people, Fidel Castro's Cuba, and Belarusian, and the another country, Serbia. They are the ruling party, working party. They are now is cornered by the ugly US imperialist. Even in Bangladesh, we facing the imperialist ugly aggression, their ugly attitude, their conspiracy against democracy, against people's love. Even our father of nations are denied by the so-called anti-imperialist, so-called fundamentalist, non-anti-imperialist elements. They are geared this scenario. So we can convey our salute. We can convey our message to the whole world. Please stand up against imperialism. Please, side by side, hands and hands, fight against imperialism and make a popular masses uprising, make a popular masses struggle against imperialism. At that scenario, we can conclude it. We can include it. There are some ethics that peoples to peoples, farmers to farmers, making relation of trading to defeat imperialist trading, and the global camping of humanities. We can make a altogether viewing the dignity of DPR Korean policy, DPR Korean Songun policy, DPR Korean Juche idea. It is the more human ethics. So we can campaigning all over the world. We can organize the peoples behind the Juche idea, the global Juche idea. It should be a learning center. It should be academic sphere to leave the peoples to learning peoples in this area. So I can convey my sincerest thanks to Belarus Radio for your great contribution and great initiative to organize this such type of events. I thank you all for participating, and your speaking, your speech is very good enough for aware the peoples of the world. And at the moment, I say another things from my side. In Bangladesh, we are initiating for our 4th International Conference of Solidarity with DPR Korea and learning and study the Kim Jong Un's People's First politics. It is the genuine cause. It is the very urgent and important ethics. We should learn this, and we should demonstration all of the world to valuation and to importance open out to the world. So you are invited in our events. If you have come Bangladesh, we will welcome you. Thank you very much listening me. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks you all speakers for presenting your speeches. We now move on to the next point of the conference, is questions and discussion. I will start first. Let me ask 2 questions. First for Dermot Hudson. Could you tell me, can you hear me, Dermot? Comrade Dermot?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
Could you tell me how many times at the UN Forum the Democratic People's Republic of Korea initiated peace proposals or resolution, and how it ended?
Right. Well, I've looked at this question, and the DPRK hasn't actually used the UN as a forum to advance peace, its own peace proposals. This is because the UN is often ineffective. There's been many resolutions, for instance, passed condemning the genocide and aggression in Palestine, but what effect have they had? They've had none whatsoever. Instead, the DPRK has preferred to solve problems between states through bilateral negotiations between itself and other countries, like when there was negotiations with the US in 2018. And of course, as several speakers have mentioned this morning, the successful negotiations with its neighbouring country, the Russian Federation, which have borne a great deal of fruit in that a treaty's been signed between the DPRK and the Russian Federation. The DPRK has voted for many good resolutions in the UN, such as the resolution condemning neo-Nazism. They voted for that, whereas Ukraine and the US voted against that resolution, and South Korea, the Republic of Korea, actually abstained, but the DPRK voted for it. And many times the DPRK has made speeches to the UN General Assembly annual session condemning US imperialism, condemning the domination of big powers. The DPRK takes the position that there needs to be the democratization of the UN, particularly the UN Security Council, because at the moment the UN Security Council tends to not represent the interests of small countries, but instead represents the interests of the US, of other imperialist powers such as France and Britain, as well as big countries. So the DPRK is taking the position that there should be a reform of the UN Security Council. I hope that goes some way to addressing the question you raised.
Thank you very much. The second question is for the president of the Korean Friendships Association from Spain, Comrade Alejandro. Alejandro, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Alejandro, have you been or are you currently being persecuted by the so-called democratic regime of any Western country because of your views and activities?
Yes, sure. I started my work with the DPRK since I was 16 years old, so I have been many years of my life, most of my life, dedicated to the friendship and solidarity with the DPRK. And this has created me many problems, not only with the Spanish authorities, because Spain is a satellite of the US, economically, politically, do everything the US says. And to think by yourself is considered almost a crime in Spain. And I have been under pressure all my life, not only by things as easy as finding jobs, but nowadays, and since 2 years ago, I am prosecuted by the FBI in the United States. And also the United States government issue a red notice by Interpol that doesn't allow me to travel freely overseas. And I have been detained in 2 occasions and jailed 2 times by the Spanish police by order and request of the United States. And all of this for my political prosecution. And not only that, they don't have any legal base to arrest me, because what they try to say is that there was an order from the previous Trump administration, Donald Trump's political power. He issued an order against the DPRK, and the USA, the imperialist USA, want to force the rest of the world to implement the orders given by the US president. So by order of President Donald Trump, I was accused of hiring a US person, a US citizen, which is not true, that accusation. Nevertheless, also this law doesn't exist in Spain, doesn't exist in the European Union, but I was jailed and questioned many times, and I am all continuously under pressure by Spanish authorities and, of course, by the USA in order to stop my work. So that's the what so-called freedom and democracy of the Western countries, where in the moment that you think by yourself or you go against the US imperialism, you become a target of the system. And that's the reality I'm facing for many years. But they will not win, and I will never surrender myself to the US imperialists no matter what.
Thank you very much. Alan, I know that you have one question, and I want to tell you that we have about 5-7 minutes, not more. Alan, your voice.
Okay, I like to raise one question to Dr. Hudson, can you tell us very briefly about your experiences and from your visit, not one visit, many visits in People's Korea, please?
Okay, well, it's difficult to summarize it very quickly, but I'm going to try and be quick as time is limited, and I believe you have one more message to read out quickly. I visited People's Korea 19 times. The first time I visited was May 1992, and I visited the DPRK at the invitation of a number of different organizations of the DPRK. I've obviously stayed in Pyongyang many times, seen Pyongyang, but I've seen other cities in the DPRK, like Sarewon, like Nampo City, like Kaesong, like Sinuiju, like Samijeon in the far north, and I've travelled up to Mount Moyhang. To try and sum up the DPRK very quickly, it's a very clean country. I think the main thing that strikes everyone about the DPRK is so clean. There's literally no graffiti there. You won't find graffiti. You won't find vandalism. You will not see homeless people on the streets. I've never seen a person sleeping in the shop doorway in the DPRK. I mean, yesterday here in Taunton, we saw, which is a small city in the west of England, we saw one person sleeping in the doorway. Never seen that in the DPRK, even late at night when I've been across Pyongyang late at night. And there's no people begging, no people asking for money or food. There's no drug addicts, there's no prostitution, there's no sex industry in the DPRK. It's a really great society. And everybody is united around the party, united around Marshal Kim Jong Un and the Juche idea. And, it's fantastic to see a DPRK military parade, which I think is very symbolic of the monolithic unity and invincibility of the Korean people and the strength of the socialist system. And I would urge people, if you ever have the opportunity, I know it's expensive, please go and visit the DPRK yourself, because as Korean comrades say, seeing once is better hearing 1,000 times. And also, I've put my recollections of visiting in a book called Travels in the Land of Juche, Korea. That's on the internet. You can download it free of charge. You don't need to pay anything. And that is in English and also in Spanish and Russian. So that's all I was saying, answer to Alan's question.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Very briefly, but lots of information. We hope to, in the future, to have a more broadcast with Radio Belarus to say more things what you've seen in DPRK, how the society, economy, all the social sphere is growing rapidly up and showing the proud nation of DPRK and the power of Juche idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Comrade Alan. We have about 5 minutes to end our conference, so we must go into summarizing and closing our conference. If someone wants to say something, please do about half minutes, please.
If I can take the voice for a while, because we have letter from one participant who unfortunately cannot take part of today's conference. I'm going to read that message, the letter for Radio Belarus and for all of us. The message and letter is from Lucas Rubio da Silva, the chairman of the Brazilian Center for the Study of Songun Politics. Dear comrades of International Radio Belarus, the Korean Friendship Association UK, and also all participants of International Online Conference People's Korea, country with steadfast independence, world leader of anti-imperialist struggle and advocacy of peace. On behalf of the Brazilian Center for the Study of Songun Politics, I extend my congratulations of the realization of this significant event. The study of the Korean Revolution and the immortal ideals of the Juche and Songun developed and practiced by the great commanders, comrades Kim Il-sung, Kim Jong Il, and Kim Jong Un, is of profound importance in all parts of the world. These principles offer a pathway to building a new world based on independence, socialism, and fraternal friendship among nations. My country, Brazil, is founding member of BRICS. Recently welcomed Belarus as a partner in cooperative work with BRICS. We see this inclusion as a step toward constructing a non-hegemonic global order. In this context, the study of Korean socialism aligns with the pursuit of sovereignty and non-intervention, which are the central to our discussions. I salute all the attendees and wish you successful online conference with fruitful discussions and good exchanges of ideas. Warm regards, Comrade Lucas Rubiom da Silva, Chairman of Brazilian Center for the Study of Songun Politics, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, 21st of January 2025. Thank you.
Okay then. We have to end interesting our discussion, so I would like to thank all participants on behalf of Radio Belarus. As we concluded in this conference, the People's Korea has a great achievements of the anti-imperialist struggle based on immortal Juche idea and historical and proud experiences. In the end of the conference, I like to add that DPRK is a country that is strengthening friendship and cooperation with Belarus, and this is positive and constructive for the future for us to build anti-imperialist allies in the so-called collective East. Belarus, with Russia and China, is increasingly closer mutual relationships based on political partnerships and joint economic initiatives. We are as a friend and supporter of DPRK not only in Belarus but all over the world, always wholeheartedly and stand behind the Korean people in their anti-imperialist struggle and all peace initiatives. Thank you very much, and see you and hear you in our conference broadcast of the Ways in the International Radio Belarus. Thank you all very much.